whatever we can do to help or whatever we can do to be the catalyst for that first step in the right direction of starting to save, starting to think about your future, and really understanding how money works. Because I think that it's a really unknown, and I think a lot of people are starting to figure out, how do I make more money or how do I make ends meet? But I'll
Yeah.
tell you that people probably go into finance the way that somebody that doesn't go to the gym walks in and sees all of the different equipment and
Yeah.
gets very overwhelmed.
Yeah.
If I meet somebody and they're like stage 4 cancer 2 days away from dying, like
Yeah.
I can't fix it. Right.
January. We're into January
Yep.
Yeah. So,
on a roll.
no. Kind of in full swing of 2026 at this point. Crazy.
Some changes,
Yeah.
big changes for
Some
your practice.
yeah, some
Just
a lot of
Big
stuff.
changes for the agency too.
Yeah. A lot of stuff going on internally that's fun. But one of the things that we really wanted to talk about to kind of kick off the year outside of the holiday stuff and what we had talked about in the past is really kick off 2026 with having people understand kind of how they earn money.
right.
Because I think that there's a lot of people that don't even understand kind of the basics of a paycheck. We talked about it on one of the earlier episodes that got a lot of feedback and people were asking further questions. But really looking at how can people make money? So one of the reasons that we did this was we all have like different compensation structures.
Right.
Mm.
So we brought Aaron, who's my assistant, in because Troy is our marketing director and he's salaried,
Yep.
which is how most people that view this probably are compensated. I'm on the completely other end of the spectrum of owning a business and running things and having bills, but my income is completely unknown based on a bunch of different factors.
Right.
And then Erin's is in the middle. So
Right.
she's paid a salary for the administrative things that she does, but then she also has a sales component and a bonus component based on the performance of my team.
Right.
So I thought it was good that we all kind of share perspective on kind of how we picked, what the pros and the cons are of each of those, and just give people a perspective on how this works. Because I think that it's a really unknown, and I think a lot of people are starting to figure out, how do I make more money or how do I make ends meet? And I think it's becoming harder and harder every year.
Yeah, on the salary aspect, um, I think I have a lot of friends that are in that realm. Um, I think the challenge is that's your fixed. That's what you're gonna make
Yep.
at the end of the day. It doesn't increase unless you get a promotion or get a bonus or anything of that circumstance. Um, and those salary people do have to look at their income like, okay, I'm not getting any more. Is there something I can do more outside of my job to potentially get me more money as well if you are looking to increase your income outside of just the day-to-day work?
Right.
I think you need to look at seasons too, because it's not only about just the income. It's about like what season you're in that allows you the ability to make, say, like in a W-2 kind of salaried, and it could be 1099. I mean, I'm sure you guys have discussed that a little
Mm.
bit, but as a salary component, you are kind of limited in a sense, but also like you have set expenses in a season where you're probably growing and building and out of college and probably looking towards like getting a home is probably your next big purchase. So it's like looking at the season that you're in and matching that kind of structure with that. And that's kind of where I was at when I first started working for you.
Right.
Was like I was I needed to go back to work to kind of make ends meet and my
Yeah.
family. So I had a lot of responsibility. And you don't think like for me I wasn't making a decision in a vacuum. Like I had children, a husband. So
Yeah.
taking on that responsibility and the stability kind of mentally was what I needed.
Right.
Emotionally as well too. So
Yeah. And even when you started, I think it was coming from being a stay-at-home mom
right.
to a part-time role and
Yep.
then evolving into a full-time role and since then, obviously, it's progressed substantially
Right.
into driving sales, running the practice, having
Yeah.
other people that kind of are on the team and having to work with them. So it's changed a substantial amount over
Right.
the last 7 years, but really when it started, it was like come in and I don't wanna say just like push some
Get a pay
paper, but
get a paycheck.
yeah, come
Yeah.
in, work for a couple hours, get a paycheck, go home and meet family obligations, and
Mhm.
now it is a drastically different position.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's kind of and you and I went back and forth for a while on just like it's almost like, you have to take a leap
For
for
sure.
sure.
Yeah.
Cause like you are giving up some of the stability, but I think in my case, and this may not be for everybody, like it was my comfort zone became my ceiling where I was like, okay, like, I've got this. This is good. But I don't feel like I'm kind of growing into the person that I'm being called to grow into. If I'm being truly honest. And we went back and forth
Right.
forever
Yeah.
about like what made sense for me and like,
Compensation wise,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, for sure. Cause it was like, I know I'm being called to do more. I know that I can
Mhm.
handle more. What does this look like? So it
Mm,
was a lot of wisdom going into these conversations.
Yeah.
I mean, hard conversations like, okay, what does that look like if you're going home and you still have this responsibility? Like, I've kind of checked the boxes on some of those things like home and all of those big purchases, really. So it was now like, okay, like some of the stability with this hybrid, but also like the ability to kind of grow into the person that I'm being called to grow into and impact the people I'm called to impact. So that was like a alignment in season, I would say, are big things when you're looking at income structure and how you're going to get paid.
Yeah, on top of that, with like having being an hourly and salary person, sometimes you have to take that like step back to move into basically a new season of doing something that you weren't doing before. So I came from a project manager background.
Hmm.
I had the marketing advertising degree. I wanted to marry those together, and I came into to AFG. I took a leap of faith, as you said,
Hmm.
and really just bet on myself. I'm at a lower end salary than I would like to be at, but I knew this opportunity would give me the opportunity to prove that this is what I'm meant to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're growing outside of here too, as well. So I think sometimes in salaried positions, you're able to you're not necessarily punching a clock, but you're like going in and these are your hours and this is what you're expected. But sometimes you can just leave it at the door. Like when you walk out, you can say, I'm done. And now, like, you can pursue other things elsewhere. I know you're going to school.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I have to
again, it's
switch
a
it
season
off.
of life that you're in too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's just exactly that. It's what is the rewarding part of work? Is it work for a necessity and for a paycheck? Is it work for on my side of the table of what we do of helping people and
Hmm.
kind of the other aspects of doing this other than just income, but really for purpose as well? And that's where it becomes kind of the 24/7 type game
Right.
of like I
You're
don't
on.
go home
Mhm.
and turn it off. It could be 7 or 8 o'clock at night and an emergency could happen. And I've been at this time a couple years ago, I had a client reach out and their spouse had passed away.
Right.
Like it doesn't matter if that's at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday or at 2 in the morning on a Friday or Saturday night. If it happens, like we're the first call that typically gets made or one of the first few calls that gets made to make sure that everybody is taken care of.
Mhm.
And when something like that happens, guess what I have to do?
Hmm.
If they're here, go see them, or if they're somewhere else, jump on a plane and go take care of my client because that's what we promised to do.
Yeah.
So that doesn't just get checked at the door and sometimes there's sacrifice to family or friends or
Hmm.
other obligations that go into that. Now it's not all the time, those are emergencies. But those are things that whenever you own a business, if somebody doesn't show up, I have to step in. If something doesn't go right, I have to take ultimate accountability for it. If a client is unhappy, it doesn't get put with Aaron, it gets
Hmm.
put with me. I'm the person that is ultimately responsible for every decision made on my team.
Mhm.
So there's a lot more that goes into it. Now there are higher ceilings. In fact, I mean, there's no
Hmm.
ceiling, but the trade-off for that is that there's no floor. So I have staff, we have overhead, we built this studio, we have a bunch of people that work in this building. If we don't have a good month,
Right.
like you guys still get paid. and that money comes from myself and my partners. So that's okay. Like we've built in buffers for things like that to work. But there are some months that are better than others, and some months where we outlay more money than we would like to in satisfying salaries and obligations than maybe what came in. And then there are some months that have huge upside potential or huge numbers that come in, and we build the coffers for those slower months.
Yeah, but that comes also with integrity too, like in just
Sure.
like honoring the people that you have been entrusted to, like
Right.
myself. Like you
Yep.
would never, it would never trickle down and be like, well, we didn't have a great month, so
No.
you're not going to get paid. But it is ultimately you who is like, okay, this month wasn't great, and then next month going into, and I think too, like is it's always a cause for you to sit and be like, okay, what happened this last month and how can we transition and pivot in the next month to, and I think we've done a good job of that
Yeah.
in this practice is just to say, okay, this is working, this isn't working. But like talk a little bit about have you been a salaried employee before? I feel like you were always just
I'm not at a real job. So
right,
in
right.
high school and college, I'd never salary hourly.
Yeah.
Hourly, yeah.
So no, I've never ever had a salary.
I
So that's
And
like
salary's different, like,
yeah, it's
you're
a
not
foreign
getting
concept to me.
overtime, it's you if you're working outside of your working hours,
Right.
right.
you don't get any benefit out of that. But it's also like me, I'm going outside of working hours. I'm a little bit after 5 here and there,
Sure.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
working through lunch here and there, and then also with the marketing side, there's just natural things that come up, like we have our banquet that's on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And again, I think that that comes into the conversations around bonuses or
Mhm.
promotions or is what you do because of what you do a true 9 to 5 job?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that technology can put in place. Like we launched this Friday night.
Mm.
It's not you going and waiting and clicking a button when this launches. It's setting it up so that all of this stuff happens well ahead of time. But those are things that I think that people look at and they figure out, okay, I'm salaried. So I'm in a vocation that just is a salaried position. I'm a police officer, I'm a firefighter, I'm a teacher, whatever 90+% of jobs are that are just fixed income.
Mhm.
And then they go in and they have a conversation with their employer and they say, this is what I want to make, or this is what I'm going to make. And even from there, I think there's confusion because they get an offer letter or they get a promotion and it says you make, just making up a number,
Right.
$100,000. Now, that $100,000 isn't what hits that bank account at the
Right.
end of the year. There's a lot of erosion inside of that paycheck, taxes. So
Mm-hmm.
we're in a very advantageous state. Florida doesn't have state income taxes. We have to pay federal tax. We have to pay social security tax. We have benefits, so health insurance, any type of disability insurance, any type of 401k savings, things like that that come out. And then you can elect other stuff. So how much do you want to put into the 401k? Do you want additional dental vision? Do you want all of this other stuff? Then it goes to your bank account.
Right.
And then even from there, it's not all yours. If you own a house, you have to pay property taxes. So there are other things that are accounted for from your money that may not come out of your paycheck that come, but $100,000 salary by the time it gets to the bank account at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the year may
Right.
feel a lot more like 80-ish thousand dollars.
So I'd like to pivot off of what you were saying and
Yeah.
just kind of go into more of the psychology mindset around why people choose a certain path, say the salaried incentive, and in my case, obviously hybrid. But
Yeah.
I know my background and like my family, it was very safe. Everything was always safe. They were not business owners. They were like go in, work for a bank, work as an engineer, but it was very, like,
Sure.
cut and dry. There was no, like, risk reward kind of thing, I don't think, but that's kind of where I developed my mindset around money and what to step out into.
Yeah. Yeah. As a kid, I just always grew up in kind of like an entrepreneurial family. So my
Yeah.
grandfather was an immigrant, came over from Italy, was a coal miner in Pennsylvania and West Virginia, and then left that to start a business.
Yeah.
So again, the hazards of being a coal miner physically and kind of emotionally are huge. So the idea of starting a business and just financially having things go bad, probably putting it into perspective, wasn't the worst thing that could happen when you could literally like die at
Right.
your job. And talking about now approaching 60, 80, 100 years ago, like the workplace safety wasn't what it is today.
Mhm.
So I think a lot of his peers were probably getting hurt, getting killed, things were happening, and
And this
started.
was your grandfather, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so starting a business was just something that was a risk, but not a life threatening risk. And
Yeah.
then my dad never had formal college, went and worked at the business from the time he was a child, and then ended up running the business and learning from that experience. So I guess just there was always an entrepreneurial
Right.
component to what I was going to do. The business had sold, so going into that wasn't an option, but it was always that I was going to start something or
Mhm.
join something that I could have a piece of ownership in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was just never working for somebody. Like I've never had a salary job,
Yeah.
so I don't know any different.
Yeah, and I'll say on my end of my family, my grandpa was very much an electrical union worker, and
Yeah,
so was my uncle, and then my dad just worked in a body shop all his life.
yeah,
So they did very taxing stuff, just like the coal
for
mining.
sure.
Mhm.
Um, and I just really wanted to get out of that. So like coming into a corporate business and just doing something that's a little bit easier on my body, where the longevity is more sustainable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, even going from kind of a laborer dollar per hour type job to something where you have formal schooling, you're using an education and using your brain to get a salary is a big pivot too. Because some people would say, like, why would you go and work a salary? You're not getting paid like per hour because back when they did it, maybe they got a substantial amount of overtime or whatever
Mhm.
that scenario is. And it's a big paradigm shift,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people try to figure out what makes sense or what doesn't make sense, but I think people do kind of stick to what they know. So for me, it was I always saw kind of the risks that were taken and what we were able to have because of that.
Right.
So it was like almost like a green light to go and try to make something happen. Like I had the support of my family to try something. Where
Mhm.
I think a lot of people that come into our career are potentially, like, hindered by family members saying, "Why would you wanna do that? Why not take the safe and easy way of
Right.
taking a salary and having a safety net?"
And a
Yeah.
salary is very much like, well, I don't want to say it very much is the easy way, but it's a secure way to know that you're making that income regardless of what happens or what happens to the market, even.
Yeah, absolutely, and now I look at it from the standpoint of being a business owner, and we have dozens of employees. I mean, across all of the various companies that my partners and I have, I mean, dozens or 100 plus employees. All those people need to get paid regardless of what is happening.
Right.
Mm.
So now we're responsible for those salaries, let alone the money that we need
To
to
run the
make
business on the
ourselves
end.
and run
Yeah.
the business. So I see from both perspectives. There are times where I'm like, I
Would be
wish that
really
I was just
nice.
yeah, I wish I was just getting the check this month, and it's I get a check minus all of the
Expenses.
expenses.
Mhm.
So in some months that could be a very nice check, and in some months that could be no check.
Mhm.
And we run businesses that, again, we have ebbs and flows. So some
Right.
months it's 2 or 3 months of expenses. Some months it's half of a month of expense. And at the end of the year, we get what we make and we run a very good business. But we have no clue what the consistency is because at this point, we're now probably crossing just in this business alone between staff, advisors, close to 100 people.
Mhm.
And it takes every single one of them to make this
To run
place
their biz.
work.
Yep.
So it's very hard to predict exactly what things are going to look like month to month.
Yeah. I think that I know we kinda touched on in the beginning, just the seasons of life that you're in, but just going back to just, like, the psychology around it, like, with my family, like, I was raised on welfare. Like, I'm the youngest of 4 kids, and it was just my mom. And, like, I think about just had somebody and she worked hard to provide what she could. It was just in the circumstances that we needed some help. And then she graduated top of her class. But I think, gosh, if there had been somebody to step in and advise her
Right.
on like, okay, now you're going in. I mean, she graduated number one in her class in nursing school. And so it's like, then she came to like now earning a salary
Right.
and like somebody, I'm just like, I got to talk to more people. Like, I've got to like, somebody needs to be there to guide somebody on like going from some nothing to something. And then again, like the next level up of
Yeah.
people earning.
Entering the market, like as somebody who just graduated or has never been in a business setting, it's definitely intimidating. Like you don't know your actual value at the time.
Mhm.
So how are you supposed to say, "Oh, I deserve this much"?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the thing is, I mean, what is deserve? What
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
what has been earned or what
Mhm.
can be justified? What can the company provide? There are a ton of people that are taking less money to go to a company that has values or things that are more aligned with what they believe in personally.
Right.
So is culture more important? Is time and flexibility more important? Is it purely the money? Would you go work at somewhere you hated because the money was better than somewhere else? And I think that's where it becomes really hard and it becomes really difficult to navigate for a candidate coming out because there are so many different structures. I know with our employees, I mean, we've been together for 7 years and we trust
Mhm.
each other. But even in putting together this new comp plan for our team,
Yeah.
I'm like, we don't have like a set thing. Like, tell me what you want to do and
Yeah.
we'll figure out how to get you to the
Right.
number,
Mm,
but you have to perform. So we're not going to let you go hungry. So that'll be your salary.
Yeah.
But then everything that you want above that, we need to build an incentive plan for you to hit.
Yeah.
And that's different for everybody because some people want more base, some people want more upside, some people want all upside, some people want no base. And we want to be able to work with everybody, but that has to be customized. So when somebody
yeah.
comes in here and they're like, "Well, what does this person get?" I'm like, "I have no clue." Like I have
Yeah.
to pull up their contract and look because I everybody has a different deal based on where they wanted to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's different for every company. Like you obviously with your own practice are able to create those the flexibility in the pay based on what they want to do. But I think you go somewhere else, they're like, this is the pay.
Sure.
Like, sure, there could be like levels up from that, but it's like you're required to do X, Y, and Z, and this is what you get paid. So the fact that you're able to do that, and that's kind of an incentive of like a business owner is giving that value where it's added in the season that somebody's in, just
Yeah.
like myself, because that's not where I
Yeah.
started.
Yeah, I would
E-
oh, go ahead.
Even for salary, like there is a performance based criteria that you
Yeah.
have to like meet,
Yeah,
even if it's not laid out in front of you, if it's not in a contract.
yeah,
Like you have to continue to grow, and you
Mhm.
have to, if you want to get raises, if you want to get bonuses and promotions,
right.
you you have to have those metrics in place, or at least figure out how to track those metrics to say, hey boss, can
For
I get a
sure.
raise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
know, I mean, we're kind of in the beginning of the year, at the end of the year, we gave out bonuses to a lot of the staff. I think the 3 people at the firm, myself and my 2 partners are the only ones that have, like, a set compensation deal where it's essentially 0. Like,
Mhm.
we know that we're coming into the year, like, with nothing promised.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Everybody else has something
Yeah.
promised to them.
Right.
We have 100% of the bills, and then we just kind of figure it out. But
Mhm.
everybody else has some level of variable in their deal that does get changed throughout the year. So even if
Yeah.
somebody's salary, like we typically give holiday bonuses, we typically give incentive bonuses for people throughout the year if they hit different metrics. On our end, we're like, all right, whatever comes in.
Yeah.
So like we know it's just variable, but we know
Yeah.
that it's all just based on kind of what we do and what the firm does.
Yeah.
So but that's how it needs to happen is we are the ones that are kind of willing to I don't want to say sacrifice because we run a very efficient business where we're
Right.
not like giving up our stuff to give it to other people. But we are very happy to take on the stress
Mhm.
of the variability for the certainty of the other people that help us run our business.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
as a owner, like that's something that you want at, as somebody who's an employee, and
Mhm.
I want to see my owners be able to give up shares if there is a downturn, because I mean that's what's gonna keep the business running. If they just keep taking and taking and taking the same amount every year,
Mhm.
that's how businesses go out of business.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely not us.
No.
Yeah.
I like the idea of it. In almost 20 years, it's never happened, but I love the idea of saying that
This is what you
this is
get.
what I get this year.
Yep,
Mhm.
yep,
But
going in.
but I don't know if I had that. I think my mindset would be different. Like, would I work as
It
hard? Would
is a
I
mindset.
Yeah, would I press the
1000%.
way that I do? Would I
True.
coach my people up the way that I do? If everybody came in, especially people on our sales side, if they knew exactly what they were going to get, would they have the same hunger and
Yep.
drive that they do now? Would they help their clients the same way that they do now? And I don't know the answer to that. I think I do, in that they probably wouldn't. I think we're inherently lazy. So it's just part of the job, and it's kind of what people pick personality wise
Yeah.
and kind of goal driven wise.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, like, we went back and forth on what looked right for me because, working for you for 7 years, like, where I started was fantastic in the season that I was in, and
Right.
it's like I have evolved. I mean, I know this practice and
Mhm.
I know what it takes, but it's always that, like, leap of faith and that mindset of just like, okay, I am right now, my comfort is causing there to be a ceiling on what I can make.
For sure.
And so, like, it's taking that leap of faith and just saying, like, okay, I can do this. And I think that's the upside is you have to have ownership and, like, speak a little bit on that because, like, obviously there's advisors within the firm, but it's like your own practice. And we talked a ton about that. I'm like, I want something that's mine.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, my situation is a little bit different. I have like my stake in the firm itself, and then I have my practice within the firm. So, that part of it, just my personal client management practice,
Right.
is something that I build and we've
Yeah.
built, that we control. We pick who is our client, who is not our client, and we run the complete profit and loss statement of
Yeah.
that business,
Yep.
completely independent of the company itself. So if I want to bring somebody new on for staff, if I want to go on a trip, if I want to do an incentive for or Christmas gifts, if I want to buy
Mhm.
gifts for my team, like, I get that. That doesn't come through the company. We do a separate
Mhm.
pool of stuff that does that. So that really is just running my business within the business. But then there's another whole revenue stream
Mhm.
that comes from that. So we have to make sure that our junior advisors and our staff are performing equally well from that component as they are from the other side of just running the firm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, in my case, it's somewhat complicated just because I wear multiple hats,
Correct.
but everything ultimately falls on us. So I guess personally, if I have a bad year, it's like double bad because my personal practice is really bad and I'm a big contributor to the firm. So like that causes the firm to not have a good year. So
Yeah.
like really it's our team is a huge part of making sure that everything goes smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a fascinating part about this business is the fact that you can have a business within a business.
Mhm.
You're getting this compensation through the contract that you set up, but you can also build out a team to further expand and grow
Mhm.
yourself.
Right. And even within that, I mean, this building that we're in, my partners and I
Okay.
own, that's
Mm.
another business.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So we have layers upon layers of businesses that we're constantly growing, we're constantly evolving and making sure that this is not just where this stops. And I think from the kind of employee or the salaried person standpoint, that's also encouraging to see is that you have owners that are investing in the business and making it grow rather than saying, let's just stay the size that we are and keep the revenue and we'll just keep the
Mhm.
profits. Anything extra that we get typically goes into making this place better.
Right. Right.
Yeah, this is a big part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
I mean, there's a
podcast,
substantial amount of
scaling.
resources. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, this is a part that's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I know we're launching a new show with actually two of my partners, one on the selling side, one on the
Mhm.
business
Mhm.
side. So that'll be really fun to kind of watch that unfold. And really just as we continue to grow the practice, getting more knowledge out there to people. I know that we're trying in this year to give deliverables to people, give them access to our website so they can play around and start to put their own numbers in because one of the biggest things that we always talk about is just taking some sort of action. Don't just listen. I mean, you can just listen and absorb, but
Yeah.
you really need to take that first step. And if we can give you tools to go in and click some buttons or start to put in some of your own data or give you something to just pull up statements and start to look at things, like it'll get the gears turning, and then maybe that prompts you to make a phone call to an advisor
Yeah.
or reach out to us or do whatever it is that
Start
kind of
asking
starts
questions.
putting you in the right direction, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we really wanna do is build channels for people to pick what avenue they wanna go
Right.
down,
Yeah.
because always calling somebody isn't gonna work for everybody.
No, I think that it's gotta be something. So if we can give an online tool that's gonna help
Mhm.
people do it, I wish that was the case. Like, I personally believe that if there was an online tool or
Yeah.
AI or
Yep.
something
Yep.
that
Yep.
could make everybody save money instantly and put us out of business, it would be phenomenal. Like, the world would
Hmm.
be a much better place. There's just no way that people can an internet tool can change self-discipline.
No.
It's just not gonna happen. We have been so programmed to not do so many things. It's just not gonna happen.
Yes.
So, whatever we can do to help or whatever we can do to be the catalyst for that first step in the right direction of starting to save, starting to think about your future, and really understanding how money works. Not that it has to be your passion, but just you need to understand the basic components of it to win the game.
Yeah.
But I mean, but that's also where we step in. So it's like it
Right.
doesn't have to be their passion, but as long as they want to gain clarity. And I mean, you guys talked about on the podcast one of the things where it's New Year's resolutions or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And like finances is at the top of the list and it's there, but how many people actually take action on that? So that's like where we come in. I mean, it's like you wouldn't go to the gym and just be like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like a personal trainer is great to help guide you. I mean, that's what and we tell our clients all the time, like we're kind of the quarterback of the team. So it's like we
Right.
put all of the pieces together. We can see the full picture and it's like
Right.
we plug and play the people that need, oh, you need a CPA, oh, you need an attorney for the estate plan. Like that is where we come in and that's where we excel is just keeping high level.
Yeah. But I'll
Yeah.
tell you that people probably go into finance the way that somebody that doesn't go to the gym walks in and sees all of the different equipment and
Yeah.
gets very overwhelmed.
Yep.
And then they get there and they say, "Okay, I made the first step. I walked in." And then they walk over to the treadmill or the elliptical and do something very low strain because one, they don't want to hurt themselves and they don't want to be embarrassed and they don't want to do this
Yeah.
other stuff. So they do kind of a low impact type cardio thing, which is better than doing nothing, but does it really help them? Is it optimal? Are they,
Hmm.
and then are they discouraged from going back because of the unknowing of what to do next?
So,
And
so
and that's where I think a coach really comes in to
yeah.
help.
Well, I was going to kind of piggyback off of that and say, like, I know coming in, like what it looked like, what my financial snapshot
Yeah,
looked like for me coming into having to go back to work.
right.
I was very reluctant. I didn't want to, but it was like you can only say no so many times and sacrifices,
Yeah,
and it made sense. But seeing a snapshot of what our financial picture looked like, I mean, it was mind blowing to me. It's like we had checked the boxes on house and things like that, but
yeah,
coming in and seeing like, wow, really, if like something happened, we have $5,000 that is gonna, what's that gonna take care of? So seeing that. But what I wanted to say is for you, I don't know if you can just give us a quick, like, what this looks like. Say somebody sees this and they're like, I want to take the next step.
sure.
What do I do? What does it look like? Does it cost money per hour? Like, I think that's a big thing for people when they're like, I don't
Right.
want to hire somebody. It's
Yeah.
going to cost a lot of money. So, like, can you
Yeah.
speak to that?
Sure. So if somebody reaches out to us, somebody from our team will get with them. So
Yeah.
whether Troy coordinates it with one of our advisors or whatever it is, we will get some general background info to figure
Mhm.
out what advisor is a good fit for them because we have people that have been in the business for 30
Right.
or 40 years, people that have been here for 30 days. So we need to figure out to what extent, what level of advisor they need to kind of meet their needs and goals.
Yeah.
From there, we typically do one or two meetings to get an understanding of who they are, what they're looking to do, where they've kind of invested or where they've made financial decisions in the past, completely free of charge. We just
Right.
gather info and give them perspective on what's going on. So again, just gathering data and putting it and compiling it onto a website that they have
Right.
access
Right.
to. From there, we make recommendations on what we think they should do, and it's up to them whether they take action or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's a big thing though. I can't tell you how many people I've
yeah,
sat with and talked to and they're like, "Oh, well," and you know, I mean, you've started multiple businesses,
mhm,
so you know the capital it takes and so in their mind they're like, "Oh, one more thing that I need to pay for."
yeah,
And it's like understanding, no, listen, like you can sit and have a conversation with us and
Right.
it's not going to cost you anything.
Yeah. I would say the vast majority of scenarios, there is no cost to
Right.
the client. The
Mhm.
only time that the client typically wants to engage in a fee-based conversation is if they're selling a large business or if they want to do investing on
Correct.
their own and they want advice. So we will customize things where we will take a fee in lieu of the way that we normally get paid.
Right.
But I
Mhm.
would say that far more than 9 out of 10, 9.7 out of 10 people that come in are not paying anything out of pocket from the standpoint of a fee to us
Hmm.
outside of like an asset management fee if we work with their investments.
I know that would have been different for me starting out,
Right.
knowing that I would be
Do
like,
you
okay, conversation.
do you feel like a lot of times during the calls, you guys are more educating in the initial steps and just
In
kind
our
of
first call,
yeah.
Mhm.
I typically barely talk.
Yeah.
So
It's
it
getting to know the
in
client.
the first call, I want to learn everything about the financial decisions that the client has made and why they've made them.
Yeah.
My opinion at that point doesn't matter.
Mhm.
So I'm just trying to get an understanding of decisions that were made, why they were made.
Hmm.
Then at the end, I kind of shed light on why did you do this or why didn't you do this or what are your thoughts on this. Meeting 2 is about kind of investigating and saying, okay, here's some insight as to what would make this better. But meeting 1 is strictly me taking a financial x-ray of what they've done
Yeah.
because I need to know if I can help them.
Yeah.
If I meet somebody and they're like stage 4 cancer 2 days away from dying, like
Yeah.
I can't fix it. If
Yeah.
they've got a sprained ankle, it's like, okay, perfect. Like you have a very small thing that we can
Yeah.
wrap up and fix, and now let's go on to the more fun stuff. But I need to
Hmm.
take inventory of where somebody is before I start making diagnoses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Diagnosis. I don't know what the proper word for that is.
Makes sense
Diagnostic
though.
of
I
this.
mean, yeah, that's a perfect analogy of what a doctor does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
right.
I think even just kind of circling back to, I mean, you're touching on a lot of things. So you're going to get the mindset behind the choices on where
Yeah,
they are currently. But it's like if we go back to talking about like being a salaried and being, hybrid
right.
or being completely incentive, it is emotionally driven. But again, it's the season. Like when I started, I go back to that because it's drastic, And when
Yeah,
I started, it absolutely made sense for me to be I needed every level of security possible in the season that I was in with a family
right.
and bills and just getting out of the being at home and being with my girls and then coming into the workforce and seeing just like, wow, okay, it's definitely different here, but changing the mindset of where I
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, and I know next week we're gonna talk a lot more about kind of how things shifted in kind
Yeah.
of your personal situation and how you evolved and what money looked like in a short period of time.
Mhm.
So, we'll kinda wrap everything up. We look forward to seeing everybody next week. Hopefully, people are sticking to their New Year's resolutions, and, we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, a
Yeah.
little
He's
bit.
in.
Warm it up in this ice box.
He's into it.
I know. I was gonna make a joke. It's gonna be the coldest podcast on the internet.
No,
It's
it's
pretty
gonna
cold.
warm our hearts though.
It
Turned
could.
it up to 74.
Yeah, it's pretty cold in there.
Oh, you turned it up?
Yeah, so it doesn't kick on more.
You think we got
Please throw off.
you think we got this janky studio?
Oh, I don't know.
Yes, lighting does make you warmer, but
This is soft lighting.
Need some
it's only set at
incandescent.
like
It's just throwing
25%.
off my circadian rhythm right now.
Oh,
Gosh, I'll turn on the red lights.
yeah. That was crazy.
Unreal.
That
Is my seat good or do I need to move? I'm good.
That
Okay.
was the most like my stomach hurt and I ate maybe a third of the cookies that she ate.
Yeah.
I think this wireless headsets. Then you can hear yourself talk.
I don't want
Oh gosh. Hear my voice back.
Registered representative and financial advisor, Park Avenue Securities, LLC, PAS, OSJ 14021, Metropolis Ave, Fort Myers, Florida 33912 239 561 2900. Securities products and advisory services offered through PAS, member FINRA, SIPC. Financial representative of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America, New York, NY. PAS is a wholly owned subsidiary of Guardian. Alliance Financial Group is not an affiliate or subsidiary of PAS or Guardian. CA insurance license number 0M21715. AR insurance license number 158383330. 8691525.1 expires 128.